Interesting facts about bees. Bees work hard to support their colonies and pollinate the plants that make life on Earth possible. However, many species of North American bees are threatened with extinction because of habitat loss and heavy pesticide use. Humans have used this as an excuse for intensive farming of these friendly flyers, but the unnatural intervention does nothing to support colonies. A single bee can produce 1 tablespoon of honey in its lifetime. 683 bees fly roughly 32,550 miles to gather 5.93 pounds of nectar from about 1,185,000 flowers in order to make one 9.5 ounces jar of Big Island bees honey. Bees can fly up to 12 miles per hour. On every foraging trip, a bee will visit 50 to 100 flowers to collect nectar. Since one of their roles as worker is to protect the colony, female bees will only sting if they think you're a threat. A worker bee dies if she uses her stinger, so she will use it only as a last resort. Respect a bee's space, and she'll happily fly along. Bees bathe themselves in order to keep their colony free from any viruses that might spread throughout it. In the honey industry, they're genetically manipulated and forced into stressful conditions that make them more susceptible to pathogens. Bees heat and cool their own hive to keep it between 93 and 95 degrees year-round. Bees are cold-blooded, and must keep their hive at a constant temperature. In cold weather, bees keep the hive warm by swarming together to generate body heat and by sealing cracks in the hive with propolis. In warm weather, the bees collect water and line up in a circle around the hive entrance. Using their wings, the bees fan the water so that it evaporates into the air. They then fan the cool air so that it circulates around the hive as a sort of central air conditioning. A queen bee will lay 800,000 eggs in her lifetime. The queen's life is dedicated to reproduction, and she only leaves the hive once in her life in order to mate. Bees are remarkably tidy. Bees are very meticulous. They groom each other and keep their hive incredibly clean. The hexagonal shape of the honeycomb is the most efficient shape in our world. The pattern allows for the cells to be packed with no empty space in between. Though the wax is thin and delicate, the structure of the hexagonal cells can hold a tremendous amount of weight. Bees are known to raid other hives and steal honey. Bees rob honey from other bees if honey from another hive is available, say, if a beekeeper leaves a hive open, or if times are lean. However, if a guard bee from the robbed hive catches an interloper, detecting the foreign smell of the intruder, the two will engage in battle, stinging to the death. If the robber makes it into the hive unnoticed, she will gain the scent of the hive, and learn the entrance well enough that she can come in and out without being detected as an intruder. A bee's diet consists of honey and pollen. Honey and pollen are the building blocks of a bee's diet. Bees eat honey because it provides them with energy-laden carbohydrates, while pollen's protein provides bees with essential amino acids. But, the queen's diet is richer in honey, which gives her fertility. The queen's staple food is a special honey and pollen mixture called royal jelly. Royal jelly contains more pollen and honey than larval jelly, the food eaten by worker and drone bees. The phrase "you are what you eat" is especially fitting here, since the queen would be infertile and indistinguishable from smaller worker bees if it weren't for the added carbohydrates in royal jelly. Social bees, such as honeybees and bumblebees, often live in hives or nests, above or below the ground, while most solitary bees nest in the ground. Bees can be found in so many locations, some surprising. These include marshes, shingle, sand dunes, soft cliffs, heathlands, wetlands, chalk grasslands, quarries, gravel pits, sea walls, and even post-industrial land. The two wings each side hook together to form one larger pair when flying and then unhook when they're not flying. Honeybees have a dance move called the waggle dance. It's not actually a dance move at all, rather a clever way of communicating between themselves to tell their nestmates where to go to find the best source of food. The buff-tailed bumblebee has a brain the size of a poppy seed, which is incredible given the fact scientists have managed to train them to score a goal in bee football in return for a sugary treat. Quite unbelievable. Scientists from the University of Bristol have discovered that bumblebees have the ability to use their smelly footprints to distinguish between their own scent, the scent of a relative, and the scent of a stranger. This means they can improve their success in finding food and avoid flowers that already have been visited. If the queen bee dies in a honeybee hive, the workers can create a new queen bee. They do this by selecting a young larva, and by feeding it special food called royal jelly, the larva will develop into a fertile queen. No animals, no matter how small, should have their hard work exploited and stolen. Keep bees free and happy by growing bee-friendly plants and by choosing vegan sweeteners like maple syrup, agave nectar, and even dandelion honey. Honeybees' antennae have more than 300 taste receptors. Bees have 5 eyes. Noah Wilson Rich, Best Bees Chief Science Officer. Honeybee brains are about the size of a sesame seed. A pollen basket, or corbicula, is the structure on the outer hind leg of worker honeybees that holds the pollen. Honeybees cannot see red light but can see ultraviolet light. This enables them to see intricate ultraviolet light patterns on flower petals that humans cannot see. Katie White, Best Bees Lead Beekeeper, Denver. Honeybee eggs hatch after 3 days and develop into larvae. When fully grown, the larvae transform into pupae. Queens become adults the fastest. They mature fully in just 16 days, workers take 21 days, and drones too take the longest, 24 days. While bee venom is more deadly than cobra venom, it would take more than 3,800 bee stings to kill the average human male. Other than the queen, all bees defecate outside the hive. Honeybees work 24/7 to keep their hives clean, hauling out dust, hairs and pests. Honeybees are so obsessed with cleanliness that most will leave the hive when they know it's time to die, to avoid contaminating brood and food stocks. The wax comb within the hive is produced by worker bees from wax secreted from glands in their abdomens. After flaking off the bees, other workers chew the wax to soften it, and then use the soft wax to form hexagonal cells. These wax cells are called comb and have 3 functions: 1. To store honey, 2. To transform pollen into bee bread, and 3. To raise new bees. Beehives have evolved over millennia. The first hives, made of woven reeds or straw, were cylindrical in shape, with conical dome. These are called skeps. In the 18th century, beekeepers experimented with new designs that would allow extraction of honey without destroying the hive. In the mid-19th century, Lorenzo Langstreth, an amateur beekeeper in Pennsylvania, took these a step further and developed bee boxes with carefully spaced vertical frames that bees could build their comb on that beekeepers could remove to extract honey. Recently, inventors have developed hives with automated honey extraction. Healthy beehives can house between 20,000 and 80,000 honeybees. A healthy bee colony can create 60 to 100 pounds of honey each year. In the spring, typical hives are just 1 box deep. In the spring and early summer, as colonies and their honey stocks grow, beekeepers will add a 2nd or 3rd box, as needed. There are workers' bees in the hive whose job is that of an undertaker, removing bees that didn't make it outside the hive before dying. Honey bees do sleep. But when they sleep, how deeply, and for how long depends on their age and role within the hive. Foragers typically sleep at night, and they sleep more deeply than their hive worker bee, known as house bees, counterparts. Foragers are typically older bees, and their work takes place during the day. House bees are younger bees, and their duties are necessary day and night. Therefore, they sleep whenever they can over a 24-hour period. The queen's mating flights happen several times, with a queen mating with up to 40 males per flight, usually averaging around 10 to 20. When she completes her last flight, She never mates again, but her eggs are fertilized for the rest of her life.